Hello, and welcome back to Turn 7. I'm your host, Nick. If you watched my previous episode, I found out that I'm pretty sure that I got COVID, is what I have. I have like muscle aches today. But hopefully I'm not. Hopefully, that's not too distracting. But me and my boy are sick and staying home from work and school. And we're going to jump back into it. So we're going to jump right back into the Grixis Gravecrawler deck. And I increased the size of the cards preview, so hopefully everybody can see these cards better. And then I also moved my picture a little over, so hopefully you can see the whole card. So sorry about that on the previous episode. But we're just gonna run with it. The episodes will, like with anything, it'll get better as I get better at it, right? So, all right. So let's just jump into it. So we're gonna draw 7 cards. We're gonna look at the 7 cards that we got. We have Urborg, Tome of Yawgmoth. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other land types. We have Xander's Lounge. Xander's Lounge enters the battlefield tapped. It is an island, swamp, and mountain. These lands, if you haven't picked up these lands, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting all of these lands, like the Triomes, Xander's Lounge. They're very, very, very good. I made a deck that I was playtesting that was, which I'll show you guys eventually for sure, is the Dragon Tribal Changeling deck. And I originally made it with all dual lands, but I know that people get kind of like, they feel like dual lands are icky, and I would agree with that in the modern format. My brother, and this is just from like empathy, right? So my brother had a Valakut Gruul green-red deck that really benefited from running 4 Stomping Grounds and 4, was it Taigas? Whatever the green-red one is. And with the way Valakut works, it deals damage based on the mountains that you control, but he was also mana fixing. It was very, very powerful, but in Commander, I haven't seen a deck yet where I was like, oh man, that dual land just took it over the top. Like dual lands, it's really, from what I've seen, it's just mana fixing. I don't have any issue with it, but I took out all the dual lands and I put all the Triomes in and the Xander's Lounge type stuff into the deck, and it played almost the exact same. I mean, almost the exact same. Same speed and everything. It was totally fine. There was not an issue whatsoever. So they're kind of like dual lands, except they have 3 colors, so it's kind of even better. So anyways, and then we got Poxwalkers. We have Hordewing Scab. So Hordewing Scab is a flying. Other zombies you control have flying. It's a zombie. Whenever one or more zombies you control deals combat damage to one or more of your opponents, you may draw cards equal to the number of opponents dealt damage this way. So it sounds like the way that this reads to me is if I have 3 opponents and I attack all 3 opponents, then I would draw cards. I would draw 3 cards, and then I would discard 3 cards. Right? Whenever one or more zombies you control deals combat damage to one or more of your opponents, you may draw cards equal to the number of opponents dealt damage this way. So 3 different opponents. Even if I, set 5 zombies here, 5 zombies here, 5 zombies here, it's still only 3 opponents. I draw 3 cards, I discard 3 cards, which is totally, it's card selection. It's definitely good. It's definitely good. Because even for zombie decks, typically, at least like a little bit, you're going to have recursion from your graveyard. So it's almost like getting cards in your graveyard is almost the same thing as drawing cards. So It's really, really good. Poxwalkers we saw in the last episode, very good. Crowded Crypt again. And this is the first time that I've actually gotten Fallen Ideal. I love this card. I have a huge affinity for this card because of the card that it came from. When I came up in Magic, my very first actual like deck, I would say, was a Dimir deck. I was in high school. I went to my art teacher. I said, "Hey man, I heard that you sell Magic decks," and he said, "Give me $10 and $10 or $15." Gave it to him, and he built me a Dimir deck right then and there. It was so much fun. It had Reoccurring Nightmare, which is banned in Commander. It had Fallen Angel. So Fallen Angel is what this card is from. So Fallen Angel was like actually, let's just look it up. I think it's 5 mana. Fallen Angel. Yeah, so Fallen Angel, 2 black, 3 colorless, flying, 3/3. Sacrifice a creature. She gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Why do you weep for the dead? I rejoice, for they have died for me. Ooh, that's a cool one. So this is from that card. So it says enchant creature. Enchanted creature has flying, and sacrifice a creature. This creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. When Fallen Ideal is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return it to its owner's hand. So it's super good because you can, even if it dies, right, it comes back to your hand. So it's a very difficult sack outlet for people to get rid of. It's already an enchantment, and now it also can come back. So it's really awesome. I actually haven't got to play test with it yet, but here we go. So this hand looks good. I always like to play my tapped mana first. So play our tapped mana. We would pass a turn. Go to turn 2, draw. Cool. So this is add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. So that's cool as well. I mean, I don't think it really matters at this point. Throw down the Urborg, Tome of Yawgmoth. And then I suppose I could throw out the Carrion Feeder. It's not a big deal. This Carrion Feeder is 1/1, can't block. Sacrifice a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Carrion Feeder. And of course, it's a zombie. So it's a great sack outlet, free sack outlet. Turn 3. Now, when I play the island, this is a was it Underground Sea?
Papa!
Yes, sir.
Look at me!
Oh, so handsome. You got cat ears?
Indeed.
And a bracelet? Yeah.
And that one.
So,
Pocket go.
yeah, you look good, baby. Good job. So the Underground Sea, right? You got this crazy expensive dual land. Well, now every island that I play is an Underground Sea as long as Urborg
tomorrow.
Tome of Yawgmoth is in play. That's right, baby.
Papa, how little school tomorrow?
Okay.
But I feel better.
That's good. So the first thing that we're going to throw in is Crowded Crypt. We saw this last time, so I'm not going to read over it again. And then we have another kind of Xander's Lounge equivalent with Crumbling Necropolis, except for the difference is this one doesn't have the island, swamp, mountain, land identifiers, which matters when you're playing things like, fetch an island, fetch a swamp, fetch a mountain. You can go and get this, but you can't go and get Crumbling Necropolis. So that's something to keep in mind. So now we're on our turn 4. So we have a land that we can play. So we could have 5 mana, or we could have 4 mana and 1 tapped. I want to play Vile Entomber, so I'm just going to play my tapped land. So we'll play Vile Entomber. Vile Entomber enters battlefield, search your library for a card, put the card in the graveyard. We all know what this card's going to be already. That is going to be our actual hidden commander, Gravecrawler. I'm really curious why I have this Dockside in the deck, because in my real deck, I replace this with the Dockside. So But anyways, so we have Gravecrawler, goes to the graveyard, and then we pass a turn with our fingers crossed that they don't have a Bojuka Bog. We could have waited and played it safe, or we could have played the Exotic Orchard just so we could play the Gravecrawler so we can have it into play. So if somebody does try and mess with it, it's something that you have to consider, and I would definitely recommend considering that. So we'll go to our turn 5. Turn 5, we have not missed a land drop, so that is super duper good. And now we can now we kind of have some decisions that we want to make. I would recommend probably just going. I mean, it's really even better to get the to get Tormod on the table, and then we can Gravecrawler. So now we have a trigger from Tormod to create a zombie. So we get the zombie into play tapped, and then we can sacrifice Gravecrawler. Okay, baby. We can sacrifice Gravecrawler to put a +1/+1 counter on Carrion Feeder, and that's also going to give us a +1, a corpse counter onto Crowded Crypt. You want to watch Augie Augie? Alrighty. It's hard to read from this far. Yeah. I thought you wanted Augie. This one?
Yeah.
Or this one?
Baby Shark Augie.
I don't know what Baby Shark Augie is. Okay, there you go. Turn it up a little bit for him. Okay, so corpse counter, we paid another black mana, because even if my opponents can't make black mana, I can still tap this as a swamp, being the Exotic Orchard, because of the Urborg Tome of Yagma. And we can play this again to make another one of these. And now we leave Gravecrawler in play in case someone tries to Path of Exile him or something, and then we can sacrifice him at at instant speed. And hopefully then another opponent doesn't try to Bojuka Bog or something, but that's how the deck goes. Off to turn 6. Turn 6 we have a Cabal Coffers. Obviously this is great because we have the Urborg, Tome of Yawgmoth, so tap 2, make swamp equal to swamps, right? So that's going to be worth it. Actually, I would do this and this, tap that. Actually, this, so that, to activate that, to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 mana, 6 black mana from that activation. And now we can, I mean, we have a lot of decisions. We have a lot of choices, I should say. One of those choices is we could just get Door of Destinies on the table. Actually, I think what I would want to do is a blue, 1, 2, 3, 4 of that mana for the Hordewing Scab. Ooh, before that, take 2 more of that mana. 2 more, and then we'll Door of Destinies. Door of Destinies, Hordewing Scab. This gets +1/+1 counter, or this gets a charge counter. Is that what it's? So when it comes into play, we choose zombie, And then it says whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, put a charge counter on it. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1 for each charge counter. And then we're out of mana here. But all of our zombies now have flying. And these came in last turn, and everything got +1/+1, which is equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power. It's what, more like +6/+6. And then I could go to combat and go, okay, I'll send. I would probably do it like that, maybe leaving one left over. So I have a Death Touch as a blocker, a token I don't care about as a blocker, and then this can't block anyways. This is commander damage, and Carrion Feeder can't block either. So Carrion Feeder is a 3/3, 3/2, 5/3, 3/3, and I'd send one at each different opponent. I would spread it out. So then I get 3 activations of the Horde-Winged Scab. Whenever one or more zombies you control deals combat damage to one or more of your opponents, you may draw cards equal to the number of opponents dealt damage this way. If you do, discard that many cards. So now I'll draw 3 cards. And then I would discard 3 cards. And now I want Poxwalker in my graveyard, so I'll discard that. I'll discard the Swamp. And ooh, that's a tough choice. Man, that makes me sad because I really like Fallen Ideal, but I probably would pitch that one. Because I want a land drop, and Altar of Dementia can be an alternate win combo, especially with what I have in play right now. Ooh, it's rough. Let's just do Fabled Passage. And now we're into our second main phase. We can sacrifice the Gravecrawler to the Carrion Feeder. We can, and so again, that's 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15 damage that we did. And now we can tap for 1 black. We play the Gravecrawler. By playing the Gravecrawler, we activate the Poxwalker. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, return Poxwalker from graveyard to the battlefield. Those are separate. So the Gravecrawler gets cast, and then let me cast. Then the Poxwalker trigger goes on the stack as well. So Poxwalker comes in, Gravecrawler comes in. It's separate, so you get 2 more zombie tokens that enter. And when Gravecrawler died, we also got a Crowded Crypt. And this is on cast, so I won't get 2 triggers. I'll only get 1 because Poxwalker is not being cast. You're just returning it from the graveyard. So now all of my zombies have +2/+2. And now we go into our, I think at this point we just go into turn 7. And now we're at the fabled turn 7. We got our land drop for the turn. And at this point, we could just, what we could do is this, right? So we'll sacrifice Gravecrawler, giving them +1/+1. We'd sacrifice Poxwalkers, giving them +1/+1. We get 2 here. We pay 1 mana. Sorry, actually what we would do, we would pay 2, and then this to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 black mana from Cabal Coffers. We use 1 to play Gravecrawler. Gravecrawler comes back. Poxwalkers comes back. When that happens, we would get, and we might just go to combat. We might have just went straight to combat, dealt the damage that we could have dealt, and then on our second main phase, then do all of these things. No, I don't think so. We would do it first main phase for the Door of Destiny's triggers. So we get and we'll just keep track of this, how many we have here. So 2 cards leave the graveyard, we get 2 more from the Tormod Desecrator, right? Then we sack these again, we get 2 more of these, 2 more Crowded Crypts. We use 1 mana. We bring these back. We get a charge counter. We get, oh my gosh, please. We get 2 more of these. We sacrifice these 2. Boom, 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 boom. We spend a mana, bring it back. We get 2 more here. 1 more here. And we do that again. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and -1, -1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, -1, add 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Oh my goodness. 2. Last mana. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? And now, I think I would probably, I want to use 2 mana to play the Altar of Dementia for sure. Let me get that Altar of Dementia on the table. Actually, I would go to combat first. So I'll use, no, I would just leave it. I'd leave it right here. So now we go to combat, and all of our creatures are flying. So these are the ones that can attack, right? All of them have +9/+9. So these are 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11 at a minimum. So that's 44. Why does it hurt? 44, 53, 57, 68. Oh gosh, that one's going to hurt. 68 and then 80, right? 80, and then this one, he's a 15, 15, +9/+9. So 15, 15, 24 on top of 80. It's 104, right? So I'm doing quick math, so if I'm wrong, like, so sue me. So we have 104 damage that we divvy out. And again, we would do one, we would definitely send at least 1 per person. So we could draw 3 cards and discard 3 cards. And we don't need any of these things. Actually, what would have been really fun too was playing Fallen Ideal there. But I think the winning play is this. Oh, and I was going to keep enough mana to blow up the Crowded Crypt, and I did not. So, kind of a misplay here, I think, because you really would want to do the Crowded Crypt if you can pull it off. Yeah, I can't believe it's 6 mana to do that. It's so crazy to me. But even so, we could get the Fallen or the Altar of Dementia out. Man, no, it's a pretty big misplay because, well, no, it's not. I don't need these 16 because it would be what it would if I kept the mana. It'd be 1, 2, and then 4 less. I mean, that's a pretty big difference. I'd say just leave it. We play the Altar of Dementia, And now we can have somebody... Actually, let's do this. We would sacrifice Gravecrawler. Boom. Boom. And we would do this twice. So let's just do it twice. And they would end up back in play. So I would sack them, play them, sack them, play them. So I could sack them again, but there's not really a point. That's going to add 2 more here. And that's going to add like that. So now we have Altar of Dementia. Sacrifice a creature, target player puts a number of mills cards equal to that creature's power. Well, all of our creatures are... All of the tokens alone are 13/13s at the smallest, and if we just add this pile over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So now we'll just delete this. So this is what this pile would actually look like. So that's 13 cards, 26 cards, 39 cards, 50, whatever. Like, I'm just going to get a calculator. Boom. So we have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, because we already had 4. So 22 times 13 power, 286. Let's divide that by 4. Well, actually, that's fine. Let's also go... Let's add in the rest, right? So if we add in Carrying Feeder, he's 18 plus... Sorry, 286 plus 18 plus 1 plus 11. Is my unlock not on? Alright, 286 plus 18 plus 1 plus 11 plus 11 plus 3, 11 plus 2 plus 4 plus 11 plus 2 plus 11 plus 3 plus 11 equals. So we can have opponents mill 385 cards. They only have 300 cards between the 3 of them. And we've already been playing the game, so this is a game-winning turn. This is a turn 7. This is the aim your deck should have, right? So we did it. We've gotten this deck to be consistent. We got the land drops that we wanted. We got all of the things on to turn 7. Now, of course, if we go into turn 8, even if we get wiped, even if everything got wiped, we could sacrifice things in response, make them mill a bunch of cards or whatever, and we would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let's pretend that they did a wipe. 4, 5, 6. And then we have 22 here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 22. This is going to take a minute to delete all these. Sorry. I'm going to drink coffee. Or, it's not coffee. It's water with honey in it. I'm trying to quit caffeine. I love coffee, but... Okay. So now they have a whole new set of problems, right? So we'll track that died once. If we went to turn 8, Wishclaw Talisman, very, very fun card. This is actually kind of a perfect card for right now because we really need draw. But first and foremost, so I think what we would do is this. We'd probably just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 black mana. And black mana is the key. That's why you won't see a Soul Ring in this deck. Because that's useless for me repeating to play Gravecrawler over and over. So here we go. So we'll play this for two black mana. And then we'll crack it for a black mana. Wait, enters battlefield. Yeah. Tap one, crack it, give it to somebody else, goes to somebody else. I usually like to politic that. And then find a card. We definitely want to draw a card. I'm just not sure which draw card we like is going to help us the most right now. Clever Impersonator could be an option if my opponents have see, because like Distant Melody isn't Distant Melody 4, 5, 6. Boy. Distant Melody is almost awesome. It's almost very awesome. Change your discovery whenever a creature you control that shows type enters the battlefield. That could be the play too, to be honest. That could be the play. Heuristic Study is always a solid option. You know that we're going to be getting the Secrets of the Dead back. But, I mean, it's a jank deck, right? We should go for the jank. So I think what I would get is... I would probably get the Kindred Discovery. Go and fish out a Kindred Discovery. Tap 2 blue. +3 to play Kindred Discovery. And then we have 3 mana left over. There's not much we can do with that. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 mana. Not much we can do with that. And then I would go to my next turn. Obviously, I would choose Note. If I absolutely had to, I could blow open the Crowded Crypt right then and there. But if I didn't have to, I wouldn't. So because we're thinking like everybody got reset, right? Everybody got blown up, more than likely. I mean, it could be a Cyclonic Rift, and that might change, and we want to do the Crowded Crypt. But if everybody is having to reset, then this would be how I would want to do it. Because now I'd get into my turn 9. They've all reset, and now I'm really going to reset with my 7. And I would, let's see, anything I would want to do immediately? I don't think so. I think I would just, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I would sacrifice Crowded Crypt and make 48 zombie tokens. 48. Let's just go 48. 48 zombie tokens, and this says whenever a creature you control that chosen type enters battlefield or attacks, draw a card. So then I would draw 48 cards. Boom. And now we're off to the races. So it's jank. It's good. All right, so we've had 2 examples of what the deck could look like getting to turn 7. We've also seen the deck do 2 different things, right? One game we won with, I think we won with like non-combat damage. And then now this game we see like we did a ton of damage. Plus we also had the ability to mill out our opponents. And that's not exactly like we didn't have to do that. We could have gone Fallen Ideal onto, say, our commander, and then sacrifice creatures to that guy. So sacrificing creatures to him he would have flying, and every creature that we sacrifice would be +2/+1 for him. So that would be commander damage that then he could win with. So it can do lots of different things, right? And that's I think that's what makes a deck really fun, really well rounded. Is it's not just linear, but that's just me, right? So now let's just get into like cards. Let's just draw like 7 cards and just go from there. So we have, we'll just draw out some cards. So here's the thing with Pandemonium. So Pandemonium, it's not a sacrifice outlet, but it can, as you saw in the previous episode, it can work like a sacrifice outlet because of the way that the abilities stack, the way that the stack resolves, right? So if I play, let me get the Gravecrawler, of course. The Gravecrawler. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. So if I play Gravecrawler, he enters the battlefield. So he's on the battlefield, and that causes the Pandemonium to trigger. It says whenever a creature enters the battlefield, that creature's controller may have it deal damage equal to its power to target creature or player of his or her choice. So if I haven't gotten a sack outlet, I can just target that 2 damage at Gravecrawler, killing the Gravecrawler. And what's nice, even if I have like a Door of Destinies in play, and this becomes a 3/2, well, now it's 3 damage that it's going to deal. It becomes a 4/3, now it's 4 damage that it can deal. So it can always kill itself, and we usually get things off of death triggers, right? We usually get like yeah, all lands. Nothing to prove my point. This is gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. All right, well, you've seen like the Dread Horde General. You've seen Blood Artist. You've seen Ayara. Well, maybe you haven't seen Ayara yet. Diagraph Colossus. Whenever another zombie you control dies, target opponent loses a life, so on and so forth, right? So we've seen that the deck really benefits from Gravecrawler dying. So Gravecrawler dies, he kills him, even if he's just killing himself. It'd be nice to be able to point that damage somewhere and then sacrifice him to like a Carrion Feeder. But in a pinch, Pandemonium can shoot Gravecrawler itself to get us there, right? So, Violent Tumor in this deck, there's you have a lot of ways to play this like more than once. So of course you have Clever Impersonator that can copy it. You have where is it? You have Dread Return. You can bring it back from the graveyard because it enters the battlefield, right? You have Necro Duality. Whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. So if I have Necro Duality out, when I play Violent Tumor, I get 2. Which means I get to go search my library and put 2 cards into my graveyard. And of course we have things that we really enjoy in our graveyard, primarily Anger, right? Because if we're getting all of those zombies that we're making, if we can also like get them untapped with haste, then they're going to smash. So yes, when Tormod creates a zombie token, it enters the battlefield tapped. And I think this one's the same. Diagraph Colossus also has it entered tapped. But Headless Hunter doesn't. If I make these zombies and they come in tapped, and then I have Headless Rider on the table to where I can then sack those zombies, and then they... Well, these ones wouldn't. But the non-token zombies, well, that doesn't prove my point. What really does prove my point is Wilhelt. Wilhelt's broken. Wilhelt, even if it's a token, will create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. So now if I sacrifice those 2/2 tap zombies, they'll come back as 2/2 untapped with Decayed. So when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat, which is totally fine, right? Like that means we're benefiting like 2 or 3 times from zombies dying. I hope that makes sense. And And if I have like Pandemonium in play, or if I have Astronaut's Altar, I mean, these are all things that we can turn into mana. We can turn them into draw cards. We can turn them into damage. We can turn them into all of those things off of one token. So if we can play things like, of course, the OGs, Scarab God, pay 4 mana, exile target creature card from graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. So here's the thing, right? Is it imaginative? Is it like are you a true brewer if you create if you create infinite mana? So what I'm trying to get at is this, right? If I put a Phyrexian Altar in this deck, we talked about this, we're going to talk about it again. Phyrexian Altar or Pitiless Plunderer or Revel in Riches or any of these effects that I immediately get the mana when I sacrifice a creature. If I do that, I can get infinite mana, infinite tokens in this deck. To me, that is uninteresting. It's you. Does that make sense? Like, it's not cool. We've all seen it. It's not inventive. It's not creative. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying it's not powerful. I'm saying don't do it until turn 7 if you're gonna do it, or build your deck to do it at that pace. Now, if the game itself increases your pace, that's magic, right? If somebody else plays so let's say I ramp, right? Let's say I get 3 swamps, or I get like a dark ritual, and I get Tormod on the table. I have access to Gravecrawler, and you play a Phyrexian Altar, and then I play a Clever Impersonator copying your Phyrexian Altar, and then I can now make infinite mana and infinite tokens with the Tormod coupled with the Gravecrawler, which also every token that I get really is an extra mana as well. So now I have infinite mana that I can actually use too, so I can play out my deck and do crazy things, maybe just like literally play the entire deck and win. If that happens on turn 4, but that person brought the Phyrexian Altar, then great. Then, that's magic. You didn't put it in your deck. It's totally fine. So the deck can win on turn 4, but not by itself. If other people have the cards that create that opening, then hey, Merry Christmas, right? But what I want to get back to, like, if I have will health on the table, let me clean this up. This is really nasty. Scoop. All right, so let's pretend for a minute. So what we have is will health, the Rock Cleaver, and we'll just get like, let's make it sexy. Let's do Necro Duality. Let's do Astronaut's Altar. And let's make it a little weird. And Gravecrawler. So this is actually, let me do one more thing. That there. That's fine. We'll end with that. So realistic, right? A game could end up with these cards on the table. And what happens is, and then I want to do one more thing into my hand. Just as a demonstration. So let's go that. That's good. And where's my favorite card? Pandemonium, right? You do this one too? No. Alright, so also we're gonna treat all of our lands. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So on this turn, we're gonna pretend like we'll say we have like 5 lands. I chose command towers just because I don't want to like go and pick out mana fix lands. Like we have 5 lands, and they are the colors that we would need. This is realistic. It really is. For an example, right? So this is my hand. Or this is what I have in play. This is what I have in my hand, and I have 5 mana, access to 5 mana. So what we do is we sacrifice Gravecrawler to the Astronaut's Altar, which is going to give us 2 mana. So we have 2 mana, right? 2 colorless mana. And we sacrifice that using the Astronaut's Altar. And then whenever another zombie you control dies, if it didn't have Decayed, create a 2/2 black on us. Okay, so we create a zombie with Decayed. We get a zombie with Decayed from here. 1. And then whenever another non-token zombie you control dies, create a 2/2 zombie not tapped. A not tapped 2/2 zombie here. From this guy.
2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1.
Right? Now
I want 2, 2, 1, 1 to go to school.
No, we're not going to school today because we're sick.
But
He's gonna get mad. I'm sorry, baby. So, whoa. He can't even scream because he's sick. Will you stop? Stop. Oh my goodness. My son. What have you done to me? Did he? Bro, did you make me cancel out? Oh my gosh.
What?
Well, that'll conclude this episode. See you on the next one.